Salam. This is Joan. I'm doing another part two of the Sura 53 I was speaking about earlier. I wanted to talk about a couple events I had in my life with exposure to stars in the sky. And because it's called stars, I just reflected on how it's interesting. There's always stars on either side. The belief one or the opposing intellectual. Somebody asked me once who was the most spiritual person I ever met, and it took me a long time to decide who that was, but I determined that I guess I've been most impressed with Persia when I met them. People from Iraq and Iran in Columbus, Ohio, stood out as very godly and polite. It inspires you to be the same way. And then relating it to the sky, one time I lived at Kings Highland in Columbus, Ohio, and in the evening, every day almost, you could see so many stars. Often that's not the case, so I thought it was, I really enjoyed it. And then when I moved to a place called Westgate here in Tallahassee, Florida, I didn't even know it would happen. I just wanted to get pop or something from the store. I was walking back and I saw gigantic moon and sun close together. And I thought, how can it be that it's this big and close to me? And there aren't a million people wanting to see it. It just happened. And I don't even have a video to show, but it was one of the most awesome moments. Another time when I was in my second marriage, my little girl, she came up to me at night and she grabbed my hand. She said, "Mom, come see." I went out and up above us were the brightest stars. It seemed like 25 stars, and I'll never forget it. So I did want to share it. And then saying that sometimes there's stars on both sides, I'm a little different from other people. I'm impressed by people that don't believe in God or haven't yet learned about Him. And so I did want to mention why that happens. And I know in Islam, I'm new to it, they have a different perspective, but they do teach that it's an opportunity to speak about God and welcome people to religion. But I was impressed by my mother-in-law. I joked like she was a walking encyclopedia. She knew everything. Her son also, anytime I wanted to know something I couldn't remember, he just memorizes all kinds of things. I would ask him the name of a song, and he would just tell me. So I think you stand out when you're different from other people. My second husband was the same way. One time, our daughter, we had to take her to the hospital, an emergency run. Something happened to her throat. And I didn't want to drive because sometimes when you're upset, you tend to have accidents. So I asked my husband to drive, and he was getting directions back to where we lived. The man gave him, it seemed like an overwhelming amount of instruction. I started laughing. It seemed like at least 15 turns. And my husband, he repeated, he's now my ex-husband, but I was amazed. He just started repeating it all back to the man. So that stood out in my mind, how detailed some people can be with memory. And I've played cards with people. I know Islam doesn't accept the card playing, but I was impressed with the people I met, their ability to pay attention. And also trophies. I am impressed with higher intelligence. So I just thought I'd mention that also.